Back when Kotaku Australia still existed and actually wrote articles, I came across one titled 15 Demos to Play in Steam's First Next Fest of 2023. There were a few there that caught my eye, but there was one that stood out to me because it was an Australian-made game right down the bottom of the list. I immediately downloaded the demo because I want to support my Skippy brethren and spent a solid 6 to 8 hours in it that afternoon. Today, I want to showcase how fucking awesome this game truly is. Moonlight in Garland is an early access, open-ended life sim where you move to the city and start your new life. Think of games like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, but a more unique setting. You choose your apartment, make new friends or even lovers, and generally just vibe out in the community. I wanted to take you on this ride because, intentional or not, this game is fucking hilarious. You're first greeted by the character creator. Although the sprite work and options are minimalistic, you still end up coming out of it with something you like. The opening cutscene is like any other, talking about being stuck in routine, drained and wanting to make a change in your life, and making a new home for yourself. All standard life sim-esque stuff. But then you're thrown onto a train going to Garland, and this bozo just walks up to you in a completely empty carriage on an empty train and decides he wants to sit next to you. He then gives off serial killer vibes by talking to us about the fact that we look like we are going to start a new life. We appropriately respond that we are running from the law, and he's just like, "Oh my god girl, samesies." What even is this man, I swear to god? He says his name is Ryan, and then tells us there's a great real estate agency in Garland if we were looking for a new place. He promptly f***s off, and we are left feeling like we should probably keep a shiv under our pillow for the foreseeable future. We then head to our hotel and are greeted by the concierge, Jake, who seems to be staring into our soul. He tells us there's no continental breakfast at the moment because he decided to deep fry a chocolate bar in its wrapper and single-handedly burnt down the kitchen. We retire to our room to watch some TV, including an informative documentary on what to do after you fake your own death. When I tell you this game's humour is peak, I mean it. We then go to bed, excited to start our new life and rent an apartment. When we get to the real estate office, guess who greets us at the door? Good old creeper Ryan, who tells us he's the best agent in all of Garland. Pretty easy to do considering there's only him, but I digress. We then get to pick our apartment. Each apartment complex has its own storyline and set of tenants. However, throughout the course of the game, you'll meet all the tenants at some point. For this playthrough, I decided to go with Birch Tower. It's the most expensive complex and is in the heart of the CBD, or City Business District, and I quite like the storyline. Currently, paying back your loan and expanding your apartment size has not been implemented yet, so it doesn't really matter which one you choose. You have unlimited save files as well, and essentially you can do a playthrough for all of them if you so choose. I then take the train to the CBD, and I am greeted at my new building by a very tanned and corporate looking Dexter Charming from Ever After High. His name is Oliver and he's the building manager. I also highly appreciate the fact that the dev gave me an option to panic and leave when he greeted me. The dialogue options in this game are f***ing legendary. He essentially gives us the rundown of the game's core mechanics. We have our mailbox to receive letters and updates on what's going on within Garland. We have the notice board where we can pick up errands from other members of the community, and we have our main moneymaker, the recycling bin. Throughout your adventures in Garland, you will see trash absolutely everywhere. If you pick up that trash and dispose of it in the recycling bin, you get a small return in florins, the game's currency. The council will have a note on the board each day which will tell you the specific item that will give you more florins for that particular day. So always check the board before you leave each morning. We then go up to our apartment. Oliver leaves us a welcome plant and a cleaning cloth and then promptly f***s off. We plant our seedling and head to bed. The next day is when we can start exploring, but before that, we take care of a dust bunny because we don't want those to multiply, and then head out for the day. The first thing I do each day is check the mail and the notice board. I won't spoil too much of the humour of this game, but I strongly encourage you to read the letters in the mail properly because some of these letters are absolute gold, man. We accept a few notice board tasks and head out. As it's still very early in the morning, a lot of the places we need to go to as a new resident aren't open yet, so we clean some graffiti off trees with our cleaning cloth for cash money. To assist us in getting to know the game, we have a small list of things to do in our journal, which are all very typical moving in kind of tasks. We need to open a bank account, get a map of the city, update our ID, and then have some dinner and take a ride on the Ferris wheel. Garland is quite a big map for a small indie title, and at first the sheer size can be overwhelming. However, over time, as with any game, you will get used to where everything is. You will notice the same NPC pop up time and time again. Her name is Sage, and she essentially runs almost every business in the entire city, which is a legitimate running gag throughout the entire game. We meet a few new people, including this dude that looks like my old tort law lecturer, get our bank account opened, and our ID card changed. We go to the tourist centre to get our map and are prompted to remember to report scams to the federal government's scam watch, and then the rest of the day is essentially ours to do whatever we want to do until the evening, when we can have some dinner and take a ride on the Melbourne Star observation wheel. For those of you that don't know, Moonlight and Garland's developer is based in Melbourne, so having Hannah here mention that Garland has 4 seasons in one day made me laugh so hard the first time I saw it. Some of the NPCs also have the funniest portrait expressions. There is so much life and charm to this game, and I can't believe more people aren't talking about it. My favourite place to hang out, personally, is the mall, which is the most vaporwave shit I have ever seen. It is extremely We then have our dinner, go for a ride on the Ferris wheel, and call it a night. A couple of days in, we have one of the first events for our building. Oliver has called a residents' meeting to discuss the building amenities not being functional as promised when residents moved in, including a pool and a holodeck?
I don't need your fantasy women.
Apparently it was due to the developers not including furnishings in the building finish, and they were waiting for a tenant to lease the retail space to bring in revenue to continue working on those amenities. We call a vote on having a new restaurant as the new tenant for the retail space, and the vote goes ahead successfully. We also decide as a group to have the private pool be the first thing to open. These little events happen throughout the game, and essentially you do the building manager's jobs for them like the good little slave that you are. Because this game is in early access, the developer is updating the game every 2 weeks or so with new content and bug fixes. Honestly, she's the most active dev I have ever seen in a game, with the Discord community going super strong. But one of the things she's currently doing is updating the character portraits, which resulted in one of the funniest interactions I have had in this game. For Ryan's first event, you are treated to a running tour with him and Elle, another character, and his portraits change from suited up to completely topless, and it makes me laugh every damn time. He also has this amazing portrait, and I don't think talking about a farmer's market requires this much swag, but Ryan has it in spades anyway. This game is exceedingly open-ended. I should know I am balls deep in the game at this point, and as a result, there is never a shortage of tasks to complete and people to help. I do want to stress though, this game is in early access, meaning there are bugs, but content is being added on a regular basis. This is in no way a finished game. The developer is a one-woman show who has made this game from scratch on her own, and I love that she is so receptive to feedback and bug reports. As mentioned earlier, the Discord community is pretty solid and active, and for $7.50, you really can't go wrong with this one if life sims are your thing. There are a lot of accessibility options too, including slowing the day speed, turning off the idle animation, UI scaling, and changes to the text to be better for those with vision impairment. If anything, I hope this video has convinced you to pick up this little title, and I, for one, cannot wait to see the full game.